So this is Filmi on for Bava Basra and Aleph. We're going to start on Nunam Beis at the bottom, and Filmi is dedicated for Shmir for the Chayalim, Atzal for the Shvuyim, and Yeshua for Am Yisrael and the Seis Sarah. So the Gemara says, Gufa Amarav Eimach Sikim Menirse Eishes Ish. So Rav had made the statement that you can't make a chazaka on the assets of a married woman. You can't make a chazaka on the assets of a married woman, meaning to say that if a woman says that this person is using her possessions, she didn't need to object because presumably it's not expected for her to object because she was relying on the fact that her husband would have made this objection. The Dayane Go on the top of Nun Aleph from Nun Aleph, the judges of the exile, this is Shmuel and Karna, Rashbam tells us, they used to say Amru Machzikin, that you can establish a chazak and therefore a woman would need to object. And Amar Rav says Halacha Kedayane Goa. Rav says the law is like these judges of the Goa that the woman needs to object. So Amar Rav Kahana, Rav Asi, or Rav. So Rav Kahana, Rav Asi turned to Rav. Have you recanted from what you said that woman does not need to object? You can't make a chazak on her assets because she's not expected to object. And here you're saying that she would need to object. Amar Lahu Mistabra. So he said to them, Mistabra. Rav said, it's logical to assume that Amri, that when I said that halacha is like the judges of the exile, Shmuel Karno, that they can establish a chazaka, that's like Rav Yosef. Like Rav Yosef established it. And what's the case that we said that Rav Yosef said? This was on 50b, that in a circumstance where the woman, basically the chazaka started while the husband was still alive, and then after the husband died, he established a chazaka for 3 years. Then she would have had to object because since he could have said, I bought it from you for those 3 years, he's believed when he said, I bought it from your husband. And so therefore, in that case, she would have had to make a chazaka. So she would have had to make an objection. And we said also in our Mishnah that a woman, if she uses the assets of her husband, is not going to establish a chazaka. So the Gemara says, Pshita, isn't that obvious? Given the Islam mizone. So since she's entitled to support from her husband, mizonehu, all she's eating, she's consuming his mizonos, his support. Of course, she can't establish a chazaka. She's entitled to eat his mizonos, his support, and so therefore, if she's using the land, obviously she's not establishing a chazaka that it's hers. And we're saying, no, it's richa. No, we're talking about a case to yichid la ara achrisa of mizona. No, we're talking about a case that he's established for her. We're talking about a case where he designated different property for her for support. And so therefore, since we would have assumed that she might have thought, well, since he designated different property, I'm using this one, it's a chazaka. We say, no, it's still not a chazaka because he doesn't really care which one he would use, which one she would take from. So Gemara says, okay, she can't establish a chazaka, but let's say she brings a proof, let's say witnesses or a contract that he sold to her, that would be valid. Haraya yesh. So she could bring a proof that her husband sold something to her. But why? Maybe why can't the husband claim? No, I wasn't really intending to sell it to you. I was just intending to find out if you actually have money. And that's why I may believe I was selling to you to see if you were hiding the money that is really mine. So the Gemara says, maybe we want to learn from here. That if he sells a field, that since he can't make that claim, if a man sells a field to his wife, Kanta, she's acquired it, and and he can't claim that I was just trying to figure out where your money was. Gemara says, no. No, really read it as follows. Don't say that she has in general that she could use a proof. But if it's a gift contract, then she could say it's that's where she could bring a proof that he gave it to her as a gift. But if it was an actual sale, we would say no. Maybe he's just trying to figure out where she was hiding his money. So Rav Nachman said to Rav Huna, You weren't with us last night at the Tchum. They used to put the base medrash at the end of the Tchum, so different cities could come and partake in the base medrash. We said an incredible thing. So what incredible thing did you say? He said, this is what we said. That if a man sells a field to his wife, she's able to acquire it. And we can't say, oh, he was just trying to discover where her money was. So Rav Huna said back to Rav Nachman, Pshita, that's obvious. Let's say you take away the money. She doesn't need the money to acquire something. She could just acquire with a contract. Don't we have a Mishnah that tells us in Kedushin that if you have assets that are guaranteed, i.e. real estate, you acquire real estate with money, with a contract or chazaka. So clearly, she doesn't need the money, so you don't need to acquire with money. So if there's a contract, it's obviously valid. So what's this big chiddush that a woman can buy property, and we don't have to say that he was just trying to figure out where her money was. She could buy it with the real estate. So the Gemara says, so he said, yeah, but said Rav Nachman back to Rav Huna, on that mission, didn't we learn where can you acquire something with a contract? If it's a gift, but if it's a sale, but if it's a sale, she hasn't acquired it. You don't acquire something unless you give money. That a gift you can't acquire with you can acquire with just a contract, but a sale you actually have to give money. And the reason is because a seller doesn't really have in mind to give it as long as he doesn't get the money back. And so therefore, so we see from here that since a sale, when it's a sale, it only works if you get money. Then then we might have thought it doesn't work by the husband and the wife, but we're saying it does. So the Gemara says, V'lav Mosiv Rav Hamnuna, but didn't Rav Hamnuna challenge that and say, Bishtar Ketzad, how do you acquire something? How do you acquire something with a contract? Kasav Loal Niyar from the Bryce says, how do you acquire something with a contract? If he writes it on a piece of paper, Kasav Loal Niyar, or Cheres, or on pottery, Pruta, even though it's not worth a pruta, that my field is sold to you, my field is given to you. I raise a mechurav in a suna. That means to say the field is a valid sale. And you see from here, you don't have that even by a sale, you don't need to give money, because even though it's not even worth a penny, if you just write it down, it's a valid transaction. Mara says, yeah, but Lavu Mosiv, who the Farakah, Rav Hamnuna raised this question, but he answered it. But Mochar Sadel Neiras, that's talking about a specific case. When do you not need money? That's when you're selling the field. It's a bad field. Certainly he wants to get rid of it as bad as way. It's the upkeep is more than it costs to keep it. But if by a regular property where you actually like the property, it's only a sale once you get cash. Rav Ashi Amar b'matana. Rav Ashi says by a gift, bikesh litnelo. So he said you can even say that is Rav Ashi says that this price, which talks about that that it's a valid sale with a contract, it's not actually talking about a sale, it's talking about a gift. And so therefore we're saying that it's a matana bikesh, that this case is where she basically the person wants to give the field and as a gift. So why do they do it as a sale? They want to give such a gift to say that even if somebody comes along to claim it from, like they had a lien on it, I'll pay you back. I'll make sure you get it. So therefore they use the language of sale when really it's a gift in this case. So the Gemara challenges Rav Nachman. Again, what did Rav Nachman say? That it's the person who sells this field to his wife, she's acquired it, and he can't claim, I was just trying to see her where she was hiding the money. So we're going to challenge this from a brisa. What does the brisa say? Lova mina aved. Let's say you borrow money from an aved. V'shechraro mina isha. And you borrow money from the slave. And then, hold on one second. Let's say you borrow money from the slave. V'shechraro mina isha. And afterwards you free him, or mina isha from a woman, and afterwards you divorce her. So you borrow money from the slave and then you free him from the woman and then you divorce her. That the slave is not able to ask the master for the money, and nor the woman to her husband for the money. My time, because we could say that the husband and the master didn't really intend to really make themselves owe these people money, but the reason was they just wanted to show where they were hiding the money, and so therefore that's the whole reason why they got the money. They weren't really intending to borrow the money. They just wanted to see their money, which was really theirs. It was really the husband's or the master's. So that's what they were trying to say. So why don't we say the same thing where the husband sold property to his wife? So Gemara says, no, that case is different. Shani awesome. That case is different. Because the husband and the master, they don't want to be considered like they're a slave to their wife, or like they don't want to be beholden. And so therefore a person doesn't want to be considered a borrower is a slave to the lender. And so therefore it's clear that the whole reason why they did this was just to find out where they're hiding their money. But in the case where a husband sells the real estate to his wife, this logic doesn't apply. And we can certainly say that the husband was just trying to discover where her money is. And so therefore Rav Nachman would say that we're going to say that we wouldn't say that in this case, he's really trying to sell it and not just to figure out where her money is. So Shala Gemara brings a different teaching on this. So Rav Huna bar Avin sent a message. If a man sells a field to his wife, she's going to acquire it. So that's exactly like what Rav Nachman ruled. Uval ocho es peros, and the husband is going to be able to eat the fruits of the field. Why? That's like all nechsei mulug. That this is a relationship they enter into when they get married, that the husband's entitled to the fruits while the wife owns the property. So the husband can sell his wife the field, and yet he's still entitled to eat the fruits. But Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Avo, the kol gedolei ador amru, but Rabbi Abba and Rabbi Avo and all the great rabbis of the generation said that the husband does not eat the fruits, because even though he wrote her a gift of a sale, we evaluate it to be that he's just giving her a gift. And if a husband gives his wife a gift, he doesn't eat the fruits. So why did he write it as a sale? Because he wanted to give her such a great gift, to give her such a great gift that he's going to guarantee it, basically. So Gemara challenges Rav Huna bar Avin, who says that who rules like Rav Nachman, that we don't say that he was just trying to discover where money is. Meisvei, we're going to challenge him the same brisa that we just challenged Rav Nachman for. That if he borrows money from the slave and then he frees the slave or from the wife and then he divorces her, then they can't make a claim against him. My time, why? He didn't really intend to borrow. Or says, no, that case is different. Shani Asham, the same answer we gave before. Because a man doesn't want to be considered a borrower, an eved to the lender, and so therefore we assume that the husband and the master don't want to be considered slaves to their wife or to their master. The same idea. So the Gemara brings that there's actually a dispute amongst the Amoraim. Amorav hamocher sado ishto kantav habal peros. So this is like Rav Huna bar Avin, that he says if a man sells a field to his wife, she's acquired it, and the husband can eat the fruits. But matana, but if it's a gift, kanta, she gets it, ain't about peros, and the husband does not get the fruits. Rabbi says echadzeh kanta ve'ein about peros. Rabbi Elazar rules like Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Avo, and all the elders of the generation, that she acquires it and the husband doesn't get the fruits, because even if he says I'm selling it to you, we assume it was a gift. Ava Rav Chizda Uvdak Rabbi Elazar. So Rav Chizda ruled like Rabbi Elazar, who says that she gets the field, that she acquires the field and he doesn't get to eat the fruits. Amar Rabbanan Ukva Rabbi Nechemia b'nei Bante de Rav or Rav Chizda Shavak Ma Rav Raviv Ave Kizutari. You're abandoning the elders of the generation, i.e. Rav and Rav Huna bar Avin, and you're ruling, and Rav Nachman, and you're ruling like Rabbi Elazar, who's later. So the Gemara says, Amar Lahu, Ananami Karav Avdi. I'm also ruling like the greaters of the great leaders of the generation. The Chiyasa Ravin Amar Rabbi Yochanan because I'm ruling like Rabbi Yochanan said that she acquires it and the husband doesn't eat the fruits because we're looking at it as a gift. And Amarava the law is that if she sells a field, a man who sells a field to his wife, will kanta, she has not acquired it. Bao ochal peros, and the husband eats the fruits as though it's a matana. But if he gave it as a matana, kantav ena bao ochal peros. If he gave it as a gift, she's acquired it, and he does not eat the fruits. But anyway, we see from here it's a contradiction. This law is that Rav is saying is tarti. They're contradicting each other because he said when somebody sells a field to his wife, she does not acquire it. But then he says the husband eats the fruits. Well, if she hasn't acquired it, why is the husband eating the fruits? That means to say the first thing she doesn't acquire it at all, and now that he just wants to know where she was hiding the money, and then when it says he eats the fruits, that implies that she acquires it. So Gemara says, "Lokasha kambamos temunim, kambamos she'ena temunim." Well, it's not a difficulty. It depends whether or not the money is hidden by them and not known to the husband. So if it's hidden by them, then we're going to say that he wanted to figure out where the money was, and the sale is nullified. But where the husband knows where it is, then we're going to say the money is not hidden, and so therefore he clearly intended to sell it. Tamar Yehuda, Maos Tamunin will kanta, Maos She'ena Tamunin kanta. If it's hidden money, she's not acquired it. But if it's non-hidden money, then she's acquired it. So now the Gemara brings a brisa with respect to being concerned about receiving things from women and slaves and minors because we're concerned they stole it. Tana Rabbanan, Eme Kabon Pikdonos, Omen Anashim, Omen Avadim, Omen Atinokos. You're not allowed to accept deposits from women or slaves or minors because we're concerned that maybe they stole them from either their husband or from their masters or from the head of the household they're living. The Kibom and Aisha, and if he went ahead and he received it from the woman, Yachzer Isha, he should return to the woman, not their husband, because we don't know for sure that she stole it. So if he gets it from her, he should give it back to her. V'meisa, and if the woman dies, Yachzer Labala, then he should return to her husband. Kibom and Aved, if he gets it from the slave, Yachzer Aved, and then he should return to the slave. V'meisa Yachzer Rabba. If she dies, the slave dies, he should return it to the master. Umar says, "V'kibom and a cotton." If he went and got it from the minor, Yasalas Segula, he should turn it into like a trust to support the child. The mace Yachzer Yorshim. If the child dies, returns it to the heirs. The Kulan Sha'amro B'Shas Mitasan Shalponihen. And all of these cases that they should say at the moment that they die, you should say this belongs to this person. And Yasa Kaperushan. And he should do exactly like they said, like they told him to do. Otherwise, he shouldn't return to that person. He should return it to the husband or the master or to the head of the household. The Gemara brings an incident with this to Beisod Rabbi Barachana because Shachva Amra, when she was about to die, the wife of Rabbi Barachana, she said, "Hani kipe." She's basically saying like these, this jewelry, these pearls that I have in my possession, the Marta B'nei Barta, they belong to this woman named Marta. We know already from her that she was, I think the sister or the brother of Rav Chia. Also Kamei de Rav, Amarle. So Rav Barachana came before Rav, and Rav said to him, if you trust this person, Asa Pirusha, do like she said. Vilo, Asa Perish Pirusha. Otherwise, make a perish for her Pirusha, meaning to say you could give it to you could take them for yourself. The Ikadami, alternatively, Amarway, he said, if these things that they said look to you like they're wealthy people, Asa Pirusha, do like she said. Vilo, otherwise, I say Perish Pirusha. Take it for yourself, make your own explanation. So I just want to say one more line here. It says, from the minor, you should make a segula. My segula, what should you buy for the minor if you can't afford anything? Rav Chisda says, how do you buy something for a trust? Rav Chisda says a Sefer Torah, that you buy him a Torah scroll. The best segula in the world is the Torah scroll so that the child can read from it all the days of his life, and that's the fruits, and that's the Karen that's Kayamas for the world to come. Rabbi Barahuna says, Dikla da achamine tamar. He says it's a date tree because you could eat the dates from it. Okay, we'll stop here. Baruch Hashem, and we'll pick this up soon.